Hello, my name is Christina Brooks, and I am here to explain to you why interview preparation is so imperative so that you can get the job of your dreams. On the slide in front of you, there is just a gentleman holding up a card that says interview preparation, and it also reads written and presented by Christina Brooks. My name is spelled Crystina, Brooks, Brooks, and you can pretty easily find me on my LinkedIn because my name has an unusual spelling. So, here I'm going to talk to you about what is interview preparation. In this slide, you can see a graphic that has being ready in the beginning, and then it has arrows pointing to 5 different things that you need to do to be ready for your interview. First, and on the top, it says researching. Researching is very important because you need to research the company that you're interviewing for, understand why you want the job, understand what the job is, which is the second bullet or point. Third is know how you'll get there. Obviously, you don't ever want to be late for an interview, so you want to make sure that you know how long it takes and plan on arriving about a half an hour early so that you are at least 15 minutes early for an interview if it's in person. Obviously, if it is in on Zoom, make sure that you have the appropriate platform, whether it's Zoom or Teams or any of the multiple platforms that are out there so that you are ready to go when the interview starts. Make sure that you've done your research and understand questions that would be valuable to you and to the person that you're interviewing, and know your resume. The person that is interviewing you will be asking you questions from your resume. So if you do not know your resume, it does not come across as confident and prepared. So why? Why is interview preparation important? In the middle of this graphic, it says hiring managers hire prepared people. Isn't that true? So being prepared shows that you're interested in the job, indicates that you're knowledgeable, it indicates that you can problem solve, that you can be prepared for situations that you might not know exactly what's going to happen. And all of those things are skills that a hiring manager is looking for when they're hiring people. It allows you to be at your best, and it allows you to be set up for success. And also, it makes a positive first impression if you are knowledgeable. The other thing that I would say in your preparation is know who you're interviewing with. If you can find them on LinkedIn or even Facebook or any kind of social media, understand where they're coming from because that can help you be set up for success as well. How? So, how can you be prepared for your interview? First of all, as it says in this graphic, being prepared is in the middle. That is the most important thing. What you need to do to be prepared is look up the company website, know the company. A lot of times, companies have values or pillars of success. And if you can align who you are with those things, that's going to make you look good and it's going to make you look like you're ready to fit in culturally, which is also really important. So if they say hard work is one of their values and you can show that you're hardworking, that's going to be a positive for you. If they say respect is one of their core values and you can show how in your experience you've been respectful, again, that's going to help. Be prepared with questions. Questions I always recommend people ask is things along the lines of, what does success look like to you, the hiring manager, for this role? What would the first 30, 60, 90 days in this role look like for me? Why do you enjoy working at this company? Remember, you are also interviewing them. So if you have questions, that shows that you're truly interested and really want to know about the company and how you can be successful there. Also, sometimes if you go on Glassdoor, you can see what questions hiring managers ask, or you can do research again about what kind of questions might be asked for a specific job that you're applying to. So prepare your answers, especially if it's over video. You can have a lot of notes all around you, and you can have answers to your questions or prepare those answers ahead of time. Also, know your success stories. What I mean there is if you have a success story where you did something that went above and beyond or you had an excellent result, know that success story. Try to find a way to bring that success story up, and it should be on your resume. So the hiring manager or the person that's interviewing you might even ask you about that success story. So be ready to explain it quickly, efficiently, and in a way that is interesting, right? People like to communicate with interesting people. So if you can make your story interesting, then that's even better. Again, we have know your resume. I already touched on that a little bit. And as I said earlier, when I was explaining the slide, look up your interviewers because maybe you have something in common. Maybe you both like the same sport or you've traveled to the same place, and that'll allow you to have some comfort in that interview, and it kind of connects you in some way. Dress for an interview. So this is really important to understand the culture of where you um, are interviewing. So I have on this slide a kind of graphic that says do's, and in the do graphic it says dress professionally. So if you're going to interview maybe at a law firm or an accountancy firm or some kind of professional service, it might make sense to wear a sports coat or a tie or maybe even a full suit. But if you're interviewing at a startup, it might make more sense to be a little bit more casual, maybe a sports coat with a pair of jeans, or something like that. So, kind of understanding the culture of where you're interviewing is very important, and you want to, again, make yourself kind of fit in. So, dress within what's appropriate at that place. Natural makeup. So obviously you still want to be yourself, but having looking a little bit more natural, um, especially again, it depends on the job and where you're interviewing. But if you're interviewing in a place that is a professional services company and you're going to be face to face with clients, um, typically those types of environments call for more natural makeup. If you're going to be in um, a less traditional setting, then maybe having something a little bit more um, bright would work there. So it just depends on the culture of where you're interviewing. Simple jewelry. Yep, you don't want anything that's going to distract from your conversation and from your stories that you're telling. You want them to be able to look at you in the face and see you for you and not be focusing on the jewelry. Obviously, you want to be clean. You don't want to show up dirty or messy, even if you're applying for a job that will be a little bit messy. Obviously, you're putting your best foot forward, and so you want to show up in that way. And then I always recommend closed-toed shoes. This is probably the least important on the to-do list, but it does again shows a level of professionalism. Um, to do that. So some dotes or things that I would highly recommend you do not do is don't wear provocative clothing. Um, that will take away from what potentially will take away from what you're saying. And it does not look professional. Keep that provocative clothing for going out at night or um, not a professional work environment. I recommend not wearing really bright lipstick or having messy hair. I wouldn't wear jeans or shorts or sweatshirts, certainly not ripped jeans, even though I know they're trendy. I would not wear them to an interview. Um, Don't wear short skirts or hats. All of those things, even in the most relaxed environments, that's not you necessarily putting your best foot forward. And then I would not wear sandals. Again, open-toed shoes are just not really appropriate for when you're interviewing. Body language for an interview. So body language is very important. As we all know, we say a lot without saying anything. So again, I have a graphic here with people hire people they like in the middle, and then things to do to try to get people to like you around the edges. And whether you want to believe it or not, part of the interview process is getting people to like you. People want to hire people that they want to work with, right? It's just part of the equation. Um, so smile and be friendly. Don't be fake, but so do all of these things within what is comfortable for you. But smiling and being friendly is a sure way of just, making people feel good. And smile and be friendly to everyone. Be friendly to the receptionist, be friendly to the janitor, say thank you to if there's somebody, cleaning. All of those things, a little bit of kindness can go a long way. I know that that's a cliche, but it is true. Um, Maintain eye contact if possible. And if it's not possible for some reason, then that's okay, but just be confident about that. So if, typically when you're talking to somebody, you're looking at them in the eye. If that's not something you can do, you can say, "I'm sorry, I'm not comfortable looking in the eye, but it doesn't prohibit me from doing my work and doing it well." Something like that. Be confident in who you are. But also, one of the other circles that I have here is be humble. So there's a fine line between being confident and being humble. And you don't want to come across as gloating or over the top, but you do want to come across as confident. If I'm sitting here with my arms crossed like this, that doesn't show that I have any interest in what somebody is saying. So just, kind of mimic what the other person is doing that's interviewing you. So typically, people that are interviewing aren't sitting with their arms crossed, so you shouldn't either. Um, Make sure you have a strong handshake. If you need to practice a handshake, please contact us at CCC and Career Services. We can help you with that, but don't have a weak handshake. It does not show confidence, and that can throw people off and make people feel like, oh, they're not going to be confident when they're doing the job. Remain calm. You're interviewing them and they are interviewing you. It is a two-way street. It's like dating. That's what I always say. It's kind of like a first date, going on a first interview. You don't need to tell everything about yourself, and just be yourself. Position yourself in a way that you think would align well with the company, and ask great questions, and that will help you remain calm. If you are prepared for an interview, you will be more calm in that interview. So I highly recommend doing your due diligence and making sure you've done your research. And the last circle here or bubble is be confident and professional. It kind of goes along with everything I've already said, but that confidence is important, but yet also being humble. So if you did something really well, and you had a team that you did it with, you can talk about how you maybe led that team or how you were part of that team, but then you can also say something about how working with the team taught you a lot too. So think about, again, going back to the research the company, understand what their culture is, and then think about how to position yourself in a way that is true to you being you, but also that will make somebody want to work with you. Interview questions. I know I touched on this a little bit, but being prepared with questions is also really important. I have in this slide some examples of questions. I will read them out. So suggested questions to ask: what does success look like in this role in the first 30, 60, 90 days? What is expected in a typical day? Why do you enjoy your job? Is there a path for growth within this organization? Is there a career path for growth? All of those things. Um, the reason why, and when you're thinking about questions to ask, again, think of it as you're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you, but think about questions to ask that show that you're interested in being with the company for a long time, that you're interested in being successful, that you're interested in growth, that you want to grow for yourself, but you also want to be there to help the company grow and succeed and do well together. So you can, there are lots of places that you can look up. Suggested interview questions, you can just do a Google search. But if you want to talk to somebody in career services at CCC, we are here to help. And then some questions that I have listed here that would be good for you to be prepared to answer are, why do you think you would succeed in this role, whatever the role is you're applying for? Specific questions that you have on your resume. Like, for example, tell me about your time at company on your resume. I have on here, tell me about a time at XYZ company. What are your greatest skills versus weaknesses? What are your goals in 5 years? Things like that. So again, all of the way you answer those types of questions comes back to confidence, and just knowing what you want and kind of being willing and able to go after it. And I have a little reminder here. You're interviewing the company as well, so ask questions that are important to you to know before working there. Don't ask the hiring managers about benefits. That is important. They may not know everything off the top of their head, especially if they've worked for a company for a long time, that they just may not know. But also, that's a great question to ask somebody in HR. They'll be able to help you there. Um, And then again, the other box here has a reminder about the hiring manager is asking you for answers, and information based on your goals. So your answers should aim to be in line with what you're applying for and the job that you're applying for. So, if you're applying for a job in manufacturing and you want to be a veterinarian someday, that's awesome. And if somebody says, where do you want to be in 5 years? You could maybe answer that, but you also could say, I'm excited to learn about, you know, working on machines and paying attention to details and those types of things. So, obviously you might have your long-term goals, which is great, we all do, but also try to focus a little bit on what you're interested in now and how you're gonna help the company grow and be a better version of themselves. And then hopefully they will want to do the same for you as an individual.